Need for Speed Pro Street has a simple premise. What if you took all that illegal street racing and made it legal? Keep all the aesthetic, all the style, all of the modding, but excise the cops and open world and put the focus back onto racing. Let's take a quick peek at the Nintendo Wii version. The elephant in the room, of course, is how the game looks. Obviously it can't hold a candle to the 360 or PS3 versions, but it also manages to look worse than Gran Turismo 4 and R-Racing Evolution, and at half the frame rate to boot. I'll never understand why this runs so poorly, but the art direction is strong, and the game's at least smooth enough to be playable. Let's take a quick stroll through the game's faults while we're at it. The shaky camera needs to die. It may be making me seasick. The menus are sometimes a bit unclear, like the main one that shows you a car, but not your car. Or the car buying screen that makes it difficult to find one or to even know which cars exist in the game. There are no replays, so although you can customize the look of your car, you only see it before and after races. Seemingly every race introduces a new track layout, so there's never an opportunity to learn your way around. This is mitigated a little bit with pre-race practice and a speed-sensitive driving line. The non-stop MC would normally have you tearing your hair out, but you're never forced to listen to him. All the cinematics are skippable, and the rest of the time he's just part of the ambient noise.
You know what else? I saw Bradley Hunter earlier in his 1970 Chevelle. If you want to make him mad, call him Brad, because he hates it. It's a good way to get him off his butt and onto the strip. Oh yeah, you know what? Tell him I said so. Oh, and I also have to add that, wait, hold on. Yeah, can you just flip that a little to the left? Yeah, there we go. Thanks, man, thanks. Alright, excuse me, thanks. Okay, where was I?
This game is only 7 years old, but there's still a weird bit of gender-race dynamic going on here. You play as Ryan Cooper, an everyman character, as long as that everyman is a young, white, average-build guy. At the time, that didn't seem so weird, but after the past few years of industry self-reflection, it feels antiquated. I do get that pre-rendered cinematics tend to preclude character customization, but that's a good excuse to make a real character instead. The game structure should have had a major rethink before release. There are 5 kings with 5 steps on a basic ladder system. You have to beat one king before you can challenge the next. The problem is that each rung on this ladder is paired with a location. Rung 1 is in the desert, and long before you get up to challenge the king, you're sick of driving through the sand. The racing is solid, which is the most important thing. The early stages are perhaps a little too easy if you've ever played a sim racer, but after a string of arcadey games, I could see how Need for Speed fans might benefit from a little bit of a softer learning curve. Getting through the pack can be a little rough, but once you're in front, you're pretty much gone. The satisfaction comes from that moment where you execute a corner perfectly. There's something about motion controls that make that all the more satisfying. Even though there's no real physical feedback, that humongous range of motion gives you a lot of precision. You will have to get used to recentering manually. After Forza and Gran Turismo, it's certainly a little tough to get used to a digital gas and brake, but it's handled competently here. The drag racing controls are straight up weird, but not the most egregious example of shoehorned waggle. It's good that a game that has drag racing would make it a thing that requires some sort of skill, but it feels silly to play. It seems like the cons outnumber the pros, but honestly they're mostly nitpicks. There's a lot of stuff about the menus and ladder system that could have been done better, but the game at the core is a lot of fun. The game goes for about $12 at the moment, which is maybe a bit high. I hope EA can look back at this and earlier Need for Speed games and see that they don't all have to be variations on Hot Pursuit. There's room for variety in this series, and there were some good ideas here that are worth revisiting.